Welcome back to At Titi's House podcast. We took a break last week. Somebody asked me too. They were like, "Did you post a new video?" And I was like, "No, we took a little break from the podcast. Of course, a lot of stuff going on." Oh, and also a lot of people asking me who you are.
Oh, that's funny.
Somebody asked me if is that your boyfriend talking on the podcast? I was like, no. He would definitely never be on the podcast. Yeah. And then I was like, no, my producer is my son. Mm-hmm. It's funny because even Godmommy Sean was like, who is on the podcast with you? And I was like, that's Kason. She was like, what? It's like, yeah. So everyone, my son is my producer. I think I say that all the time. Yeah, since people are inquiring about that. So I want to talk about, what about this? Do you see 50 Cent? Oh my God, it just cracks me up because he is trolling. I feel like he's trolling Diddy. What's the definition of trolling?
Trolling is just like digital, like picking on somebody online.
Do you think that's what he's doing? Yeah, trolling him,
he's
like definitely like
100%
picking on him.
Yeah, he's good at trolling.
They said he posted something about Diddy has a list, and Diddy is definitely reading off like names. He mentioned Alicia Keys, but I don't know where he got this video of Diddy reading this list, and he's trying to say these are the people that are going down, that he's calling out to go down with him.
Funny.
And I'm like, come on, 50. I think that's so funny that he's trolling him like that.
I mean, 50's always trolled everybody that he has like beef with though.
Really?
Yeah, him and Diddy got beef for something. I forgot.
Like, what happened that they have beef? And it's like, a long-standing beef together, right? Mm-hmm. The two of them. I just think it's so funny because, like, you don't hear Diddy saying anything or commenting.
Yeah, because it could be held against him in the court of law. He can't
say that's nothing why I can't say nothing right now. Oh, I didn't think about that.
You see the video? He was just riding his bike. That just like somebody posted last week. Like,
him and Diddy and who was with him? It was somebody with him.
Yeah, he was outside. He was just like riding a bike or something.
Oh, Stevie J.
Yeah.
Him and Stevie J in Miami.
Yeah.
And he took pictures with them and everything. I thought that was very nice. His fans were still out there, You can't believe anything that you hear until the actual facts come out.
Yeah.
And I think with social media, it's made it so easy for people to believe what they hear, especially if you see it on your timeline a million times. You're like, oh, it's got to be true. That's not necessarily the case. You know what I'm saying? They have to build a case. And at this time, this is all speculation. Okay, and you can't go out here and just say, he's guilty, because we don't know that. 50 Cent, we don't know if he's guilty.
Yeah, I feel like social.
Go ahead.
I was gonna say, I feel like social media, like you're saying, it tarnishes people just so easily.
Oh yeah.
Because even once they find out that he didn't do it, if they find out he didn't do it, he's still gonna be tarnished.
He's still gonna be tarnished, and people are gonna be looking at him differently. You can't judge a book by the cover. You know what I'm saying? Like, you really can't do that. You need to really, when the facts come out and you hear, the facts are there, then that's when you make a decision on whether or not, like with the R. Kelly thing, like you make a decision then whether or not you want to continue to follow R. Kelly, and listen to his music. A lot of people was like, oh, you still listen? I will always listen to R. Kelly's music. Like, what does that have to do with anything? He was a musical genius.
Yeah, people don't know how to separate the person from the artist.
From the art, like, yeah. I think that's crazy. Did you watch, I'm wondering, because I know that you guys like Basquiat. Did you watch the documentary that they have on Basquiat?
Basquiat?
Yeah,
like the painter?
The painter.
Which documentary was this?
Oh, man, I think it's on, did I watch it on Hulu maybe? I think it's on Hulu. Hulu, I didn't have Hulu. I think I stopped watching Hulu for a while.
Yeah, you didn't have it for a minute.
Yeah, but when I tell you, they be having some good documentaries on there. Oh, my God. I've been watching everything.
I love documentaries.
My God.
A Radiant Child? Was it that one?
No,
Basquiat,
it just talks about like his path and everything that happened to him, and
he was homeless and everything.
Everything that he was homeless, and like the people surrounding him, like the women he messed with and stuff that I wouldn't think he would mess with.
Yeah.
But maybe, back then, I don't know. He just seemed like a liberal soul, like really free and just, I don't know. It was just amazing to me to just, and then he died of an overdose, a drug overdose. Oh my God. Yeah. It's so crazy how people get hooked on drugs like that. I've been watching Intervention. Mm-hmm. Have you seen that?
I have. I haven't seen it in a while.
Oh my God. I've been watching that. And you guys, I've never been addicted to anything, so I don't know what that's like, drugs or anything. I have a shopping addiction, maybe, but it's the same thing.
The receptors in your brain.
I know, it's like, I gotta have this, but I think I have it under control. Like, if I can't buy it, I ain't gonna buy it. But if I have the money and I want it, I'm gonna buy it. That's just, I don't think it's an addiction. I just like stuff. I don't know.
I just like stuff.
I don't know.
Yeah, but addiction is hard, though. I told you I was addicted to pills at the time.
Yeah.
It's very difficult.
Addiction is difficult, and you just don't never know. Like, there's nothing that you can say to someone who is who is addicted to something. It's
an illness.
It is so hard, and families like just to see the turmoil that these families are going through because they're stealing from them. They're stealing money from their parents' bank accounts. One girl took the parents' bank card out of her purse and stole from her. Was using heroin in their parents' house while she was visiting her kids. Her parents had the custody of the kids. Like, oh my God. But what I love about it is, like, at the end, you really see their success.
Yeah, see how it changes. Like, if you can beat it, you can do anything.
Oh, my God,
you know what I mean? Yeah, I'm happy mine's never got that bad. But it really just comes from being sad and being depressed and just trying to escape.
Yeah, it is. People escaping divorce. A lot of them divorce. Depression, like one girl, the father wasn't there. And then the father was not an emotional person, like very flat, not emotional. And the therapist was trying to really talk to him about, hey, you know what? Your daughter, you weren't there for your daughter. You need to tell her that I'm sorry. You need to, and he kept saying, stop pushing me to say this and stop pushing me to say that. And I was like, dude, he's trying to help you. And at some point, your daughter wants to hear you say, I'm sorry. Mm-hmm. And this guy, he just kept fighting with the therapist. Like, I'm not saying that. I'm just not that person. I'm not that person. Sometimes you have to put your own self aside to help them get past the addiction. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? And express love and concern. If you can't express love and concern, that's why the girl got a damn problem.
I was about to say, it probably would eat him up inside, though. If she died, he'd be like, dang, I should have said
from an overdose.
Sorry. I should have said I'm sorry.
And a lot of them don't think they'll overdose. Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying? I mean, it was just so sad. It's sad to see people go through that. Their families go through that. I've never seen or had to deal with anything like that. Yeah. And it's just so sad to see that. But like I said, they have great shows on Hulu. Like, I've watched Black Cake. Have you seen that? That's Black on Hulu too. Man, amazing. Season 1, I watched it.
What's it about?
Oh my God, it's about, I don't even want to tell you because it's so good. Man. You got to go out there and watch it. It's about a girl that grew up in Jamaica and her father forced her to get married. Mm-hmm. And it just goes through her life and how her whole life was false from the time she was like 17, 18 years old. And she held that all the way until she died. Dang. So her kids didn't really know who she really was. Yeah. And her husband and her falsified their identities to, they came to the States and they falsified their identities. I mean, like, it is really, really good. Like, I'm thinking they're better than Netflix.
No, it is. Definitely. Netflix is mad, boring and repetitive. Like, all it has is Love is Blind now. So when the new season come out, I'd be excited for that. But Hulu, Apple TV is fire. Everything.
I have Apple TV too because Titiana had it, and I was like, "Oh, I'm gonna get this so I can watch it." So I have that too.
Apple TV got fire on there.
You know what's so funny is people. If you guys are still subscribing to cable and Infinity, you are crazy because you can get Hulu for like $11. You can get Netflix for $12. It will never equal to what I paid in cable TV. Yeah. I was paying like $150 a month in cable TV.
It was taxed.
Oh my God. So then I got streaming, Netflix, Hulu, Apple TV. I have Prime. Like even with those 4 things, and I do have Samsung Live, where I can watch TV shows and all that stuff, the news and all that stuff. But that could never equate to what I was paying in cable TV charges.
That, and then even like what they used to tax people on phone bills.
That too.
Free nights and weekends. It's like, hey, you can't call me after. They was.
Yeah. Do you remember that?
I do.
When cell phones first came out.
I do. Yeah.
You'd be like after 9 o'clock.
Yeah, call me after 9, or I'm not answering.
I'm not answering the phone. Yeah, that's crazy. All the stuff how time has evolved so much, and for us to even like reality TV took over.
Yeah. And
there's so many reality TV shows, that you can watch, and it's so much information. You got to be careful what you're watching, because I really do believe that you ingest that and you create situations in your own life that could be from watching TV. You know what I'm saying? It does. You ingest that. You really
consume it.
And you think it's true for yourself. So be careful on how much reality TV you watch. Mm-hmm. I mean, it's free entertainment though, but at the end of the day, it's free entertainment. But at the end of the day, you got to be careful what you're watching and putting into your mind. You know what I'm saying? So just be careful with that, people. But I wanted to talk about that. Today, I definitely want to talk about, have you ever heard you have to fight fair?
Yeah.
Or fight fair in a relationship, or just fight fair.
Yeah.
I feel like when you are arguing with your significant other or even a family member, that sometimes we don't fight fair. Yeah. Right? Uh-huh. Have you ever experienced that where the fight is just when you start, saying personal things and things to your significant other that daggone well you should have emotional intelligence. We talked about emotional intelligence and you being able to identify your emotions and the person's emotions so that you can make sure that you're not saying something to hurt them, right?
Yeah, most people are trying to hurt feelings though when they're arguing.
That's what I mean by not fighting fair. Yeah. Like you basically are out here just saying all kinds of stuff and hurting people's feelings. And I feel like sometimes, that certain things that are not good in a relationship brings out them unfair fights.
Yeah.
It's not cool, y'all. So I want to talk about that today, because I've experienced this in my own relationships where I feel like one person is very manipulative, controlling and just controls the conversation, and in the midst of the conversation says hateful shit to make you mad. Like I don't think that's not fair fighting.
That's not cool.
It's not cool at all. So on choosingtherapy.com, there's an article which tells you, basically there's an article and it's 16 fair fighting rules, how to fight fair in a relationship. We all need this. Not just romantic relationships, work relationships, sibling relationships, brother, sister, aunt, uncles. Like you really need to understand what it means to fight fair. And I think people don't know how to communicate. I think when you're not fighting fair, someone's going to get their feelings hurt.
For sure.
I really believe that. I think that, arguments unfold and cause us to say things that are harmful. And we said that with emotional intelligence, that once you say it, you can't take it back.
At all.
Remember that, okay? Once you say it, you can't take it back. So in this article, they talk about causes of relationship conflict that can lead to fights. And control issues. Maybe one person in the relationship is more controlling than the other, or they try to control the situation, right? Have you ever been with somebody controlling?
Controlling? Nah.
No, like trying to tell you what to do and how to do it?
I can't be controlled by anybody.
No, I feel like I can be a little controlling, but not to the point where it's like unbearable, I don't think. Yeah. I don't know. You would have to ask somebody I've been with. I don't think I'm controlling. Maybe maybe just a little bit.
You're particular.
I'm particular. Is that what it is? I try to control me, I think.
Particular.
Yeah, OCD. I'm OCD.
Yeah.
So I like things done the way I like them done, but that might not translate good to other people. And I think that when you're with somebody that has the same OCD tendencies, y'all mesh a little bit better. That's my perspective. So trust issues in a relationship can cause conflict. Commitment issues, infidelity, and trauma. People have childhood traumas. We talk about this. People have childhood traumas that come into their relationships. Maybe they've never gotten help for it, and it manifests in their lives in different ways. And it could be in a relationship. When you're in a relationship with somebody who has mom issues or dad issues, parents maybe didn't raise them, grandparents raised them. I think that people have definitely issues that they bring. Maybe somebody cheated on you from your past relationship and you bring that into the next relationship. When something doesn't seem right, don't smell right, you're like, oh, he might be cheating. And that might not necessarily be it. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. So what does it mean what do you think it means to fight fair?
Fight fair is to no low blows. Like, just, you're not.
I always say that. Don't you kick me below the belt, or you punch me below the belt.
It's not about the win. It's about getting the point across,
and tackling the subject,
whatever,
so that you can move on.
Yeah, exactly.
And then when you're fighting with somebody, the person needs to be heard. They need to be seen and respected. You know what I'm saying? If that person doesn't feel. And one person, both people need to be accountable. You know what I'm saying? And I feel like a lot of times it's the point of one person being heard and speaking over the other. When I get mad, you know what I do? I hang up the phone. Because when I hang up the phone, that means I feel like I can't get my point across.
Yeah, it's like,
so it's pointless. Let me just hang up the phone. But I think that, there is... When you are not hearing somebody, you're not valuing their opinion, they don't feel seen, they don't feel heard. I think that what happens is that the reason that they don't is because you are you're unhealthily arguing with them.
Yeah, it shouldn't be arguing.
It shouldn't be.
It should be communication, like conversation. It should never be arguing.
It should never be. You're not?
No, I'm not.
Do you just shut down and just be like, I'm not talking about it?
I'm not arguing. It's like, if we can't talk at regular voice level, if you yell at me, I'm not talking to you.
Yeah. And it's unhealthy to, like, I feel like that when you are in an unhealthy argument with somebody, you're blaming them, you're cursing at them, you're, like you said, hitting below the belt.
All that.
I think that sometimes they feel personally attacked. That's what happens with me. I feel that in some cases, when I'm arguing with somebody, if I feel personally attacked, I don't want to talk to you no more. So just leave me alone. I'll break up with you. Okay, I don't want to be with you no more. Just leave me alone. That's my response to everything that doesn't feel right for me.
Me too.
Really? Are you like that? You must get that from me.
Yeah, I told you that'd be part of the reason I'd be like ghosting people once they do something or they like talk to me crazy. And I'm just like, yo, I'm out.
I'm out of here.
Yeah.
You can't personally attack somebody and then expect them to want to have a conversation with you or to openly communicate with you. I don't think that's fair. I feel like, you have to, when you're arguing with someone, you're not always going to agree, but you can be respectful. You can, definitely, I think that you have to listen. Each person needs to take time to talk. And if you're not doing that, what are you resolving? Like you said, you're not resolving the issue. You're putting a Band-Aid over that and going to the next thing, and it comes up again and again and again and again, and you never get past it. Right? Is that what happens?
100%.
So there's unhealthy forms, which we talked about a few of them. We said ignoring the problem, personal attacks, blaming the other person, criticizing them, name calling. I don't think you should ever name call. Certain things you can't get past. Defensiveness, that's me. I feel defenseless sometimes because I feel like you're attacking me. I don't like that. Avoidance, bringing up past issues. You can't have an argument with somebody and keep recalling the things that you've said you've forgiven. You know what I'm saying? And showing contempt. But I feel like I've been in a relationship with somebody and I've said to them, hey, if you've forgiven me, we can't keep revisiting what I've said. If I changed it and redirect how I approach you on certain subjects, then you need to definitely not keep bringing up the past.
Yeah. We'll
never get past that. And you will always feel like I'm complaining or that I'm testing you. Right? Mm-hmm. I don't know. I feel like it's like there's no successful argument and there's no success in a relationship if you keep bringing up the same thing over and over again.
Yeah, because it's like, all right, we're never going to get over this.
And it keeps coming up. I feel like if there is, oh, wow, it just started raining really hard. I feel like there is, I lost my train of thought. I wanted to say something about, oh man, I lost my train of thought, y'all. Oh, I hate when that happens.
We was talking about them. People keep bringing stuff up in a relationship, trying to get past it, but you can't if you keep revisiting.
You keep revisiting, like you're throwing salt in the wound.
Yeah.
You keep saying it over again. Oh, well, you brought up your ex. Like some people have problems with you bringing up your ex in a relationship, right? I'm just going to use this as an example. Say, for example, you start a relationship with somebody and initially you might compare the person to your ex. I think that happens a lot. That's not unfair. I think it happens a lot. You say, oh, well, my ex didn't do this. Or, you're telling them like I have options. Like, I don't think there's anything wrong with that. But if that person continues to bring that up and that's the only argument they have with you, like, I think that's so unfair.
What, that my ex didn't do that?
No, that I brought up my ex. Like, some people don't like you to bring up your past relationships into your new ones, but I feel like that's healthy. I don't feel like that's unhealthy. You're letting them know, like, I've been through this trauma and I don't want to go through it again. Mm-hmm. So I'd appreciate if you don't do it. Is there anything wrong with that? Have you ever done that?
No, I would just leave. So when I see the red flag, I'm like, I know what this turns into. I'm gone. Like,
oh, wow.
Yeah, so.
Never thought about it that way.
Yeah, because if you're saying you've been through it before and you're seeing it again and, and it's.
No, like them bringing it up over and over again. Oh, you brought up your boy. So you brought up your ex in our conversation. Okay, you don't like that. I redirect. I'm not doing it again. Mm-hmm. But every time we have an argument, you want to say, you talk about your exes. Wait a minute. I haven't talked about my ex in months. Like, what are you talking about?
I mean, and it depends on what type of ex it was. Was it an ex-marriage? It's like, that was 30 years of my life. Do you want to know who I was before you or not? Like,
right. I think that's important. You have a great point there. Yeah, that's important. Like, I think that's why I say I don't see anything wrong with somebody bringing up their past relationship if it was trauma and you're trying not to bring that trauma into a new relationship. You want that person to understand you, understand how you handle certain situations. Mm-hmm. I don't think if you're not bringing them up in a place to throw them in their face.
If you're not comparing,
like my ex is better than you.
Yeah.
Or my ex does this better than you.
That's toxic.
Now that's toxic. Yeah. But if you're just bringing up your ex and saying, hey, like in my relationship with this person, this is how I felt when he attacked me, or this is how I felt when we had conversations. I feel like I wasn't hurt. I think it's okay. That's healthy.
Yeah, because then you're telling him, when you do this, you're reminding me of that, and I didn't like how this.
I didn't like how that made me feel. Yeah, I don't see anything wrong with that. Do you see anything wrong with that? I don't.
No, but men egos are soft.
Is it the ego?
Men's egos are soft. They don't want to hear about nobody you ever been with.
This is that soft era men stage that we have right now. I seen something on social media that this guy was talking about the soft era. This guy, it was a guy that just got a haircut. Mm-hmm. Have you seen this?
No, I haven't.
The guy got a haircut, and the haircut was $100. Like beard, hair, like he was looking good. And the girl said, "Okay, well, come on, we finished. Let's go eat. Let's go to McDonald's." And he was like, "I just got $100 haircut. Do I look like I eat McDonald's?"
That's funny.
And the guy was talking about the soft era.
Yeah.
for men. And I was just like, what? Is there really such a thing? Like, I don't know. But I thought that was funny. Anyway, so let's go back to 16. So let's go over these fair fighting rules. They have fair fighting rules. Oh my God. This is to help you resolve the argument and conflict. And that just helps you better understand you and the person that you're arguing with. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? What are your goals in an argument? What are your needs? Are they being met? Are you being heard? Does this person understand your emotions? Because I feel like if a person doesn't understand how you react to things, they don't understand your emotions on how you handle things. Right? Mm-hmm. So I want to share, there's 16 rules for fair fighting or fighting fair. So the first one is staying focused on the issue at hand, like you said.
And not going to,
jumping on this. Oh, well, you said this, and I'm going to say this.
And remember you said this, and remember this happened. Remember last time, yeah.
Yeah, so this says, try to keep your discussion streamlined. Mm-hmm. Don't bring in non-related issues into the conversation. Don't lead to further distress or irritation because you're bringing non-related issues in. I think that causes a lot. When you're talking about one thing and then you jump to other things that person's not doing well, mm-hmm. or that person doesn't handle well, or you feel like it's an issue in your relationship, that is not a good time to bring up everything that person is doing wrong.
Nah, because then they're not going to, it's too much to fix. It's like, you just put too much on their plate.
Yeah, you're further upsetting them. You're making the conflict way bigger mm-hmm. by bringing up stuff, past hurts, and like, why would you do that? The only way to give the relationship a better chance of resolving conflict is by really understanding the current issue, working on that issue, and coming up with a plan that satisfies both people.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? That's hard to do, but it can be done if you're invested, if you're committed. Some people are not committed, so they don't really care. I think that if you love a person, you'll work towards making things better, right?
Yeah.
You didn't say that with you said that with a little bit of hesitation in your voice.
No, you will, but just
if you don't get in a relationship, if you don't deal with what's at hand, there's no future.
Oh yeah, 100%.
There's no future.
And that's really what I was gonna say. It's like you gotta determine if it's worth it.
It's worth it at the end of the day. Is it worth working through? Is it worth understanding? If it's worth it to you in the relationship, it has to be worth it to both partners. It can't be worth it to me and not worth it to them.
Yeah, and even is the argument worth it? It's like, it's like sometimes you gotta let them win. It's like, what is it gonna change?
You have to pick what you wanna.
Yeah, pick and choose.
Pick and choose what is it. You know what? It's funny because Katrina says that all the time.
Yeah, you can't win.
Well, every argument is not worth having.
Exactly.
It is so true. So you can pick and choose what you want to argue about and what's worth it. And if you have a person, I feel like for me, because I think I like men that are alpha men, a lot of times, I think that I don't think I'm bossy, but I do think I'm a little aggressive. And usually alpha men want a woman to submit, mm-hmm. but they don't understand that a woman will only submit if she feels safe. If a woman does, and I've said this in the past, if a woman doesn't feel safe in the relationship, she is not going to submit to you. She might submit in certain areas, but in other areas, she might not be 100% submissive. And that's something that you have to bring out in her. And it's built off of trust. It's built off of being safe in the relationship. If she does not feel that, she's not submitting to you.
I don't think all women submit. Some women just won't submit. Because they're the ones that's going to make somebody else submit.
But that's women that are like that. Uh-huh. I don't think they can be with alpha men.
Yeah.
Because alpha men are very strong. They're very controlling, I think. They are I think some of them can be very manipulative, and I think some of them can be very fucking narcissistic. You know what I'm saying? Got to be careful, ladies. If you are, I feel, because they said there's no alpha women, but I believe there are alpha women.
Yeah, I know a couple of them.
I know that there are alpha women, and I feel like I'm one of them. So, but I can submit because I was married for 20 years. I know how to submit.
But you way further along in life now. Like, you way more wise. You way more. You got everything on your own. It's like, why should I submit now? What I would imagine, because you got everything on your own.
It's funny you mentioned that, because I feel like that sometimes. But I know that for me, I always say, like, when I meet a guy, immediately I know whether or not he's going to be able to handle me. It has to be a certain type of man that can handle me. If you are not alpha, you can't handle me. You can't. It's not going to work. And I feel like you learn that. You see those traits. You can see the characteristics of an alpha male immediately when you meet them. You know what I'm saying? They're usually, it's funny because I said to my partner, I've said to him, because we've had conversations about submission and stuff like that. I've said to him, I understand it now why you're so controlling, because you're a boss. And when you're a boss, you're used to bossing people around and saying, hey, you do this, and you're delegating and stuff like that. I'm not your employee, but I understand why you are the way you are. So I had to learn to kind of, not change myself, but learn how to be in a relationship with this person, because he is a boss. Yeah. He runs a business.
Yeah, it's not nothing personal. He's not trying to, that's just in him.
It's in him. It's his character skills.
Yeah, that's just how he is.
And how he moves. And I'm like, at first that was very difficult because I didn't understand. I seen it as, well, maybe he's just really controlling, but I don't see him being controlling because he doesn't control what I do. But he is the boss. And I'd be like, now, it took me a while. I'm going to say it took me a while to get there, because I don't think I'm not going to say I've kind of always dated somebody who's had a job, either military, police officer, somebody that's going into a 9-to-5. I haven't dated a lot of entrepreneurs that own their own businesses. So being with him has really taught me that, okay, I understand that I have to step back sometimes and just allow him to be the boss, because that's what he's used to. But sometimes I'll be like, you are not the boss of me, and my name is not your child's name. Like, I've had to say that to him several times, because he's just so used to being the boss. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, you just got to realize it's not malintentions when he's on his bossy,
Yeah, he's on his boss shit, because I feel like he's on that boss shit sometimes, and I'm like, dude, go sit down somewhere. But it's all about number 2, talking openly, you know what I'm saying, with that person. If there's a problem, you have to be able to talk openly about that problem. You can't shut down. You can't not fully engage. You have to be able to talk through it. You know what I'm saying? And a lot of people, if you don't talk to understand, you're never going to get past it. I feel like sometimes, people just talk, but not to gain understanding. And you have to talk to someone to gain their understanding of where they're coming from. And I think that's talking openly about the problem, right?
Yeah, and to just even understand why they are the way they are. You won't know if you don't talk.
Right.
Through
understand, and you learn from people when you're talking openly about a problem. They might bring up something where they've had this problem before. You know what I'm saying, or in their past. You got to give people space, time enough and space enough to talk. It's funny because I think the best thing for me is listening to that person talk first. Me listen. Sometimes I'm taking notes on my phone. He don't know this, but if we're on the phone, I'm taking notes in my notes so that I can come back and say, well, you said this, and that. So don't play with me, because I know how to. I observe things and I write them down as you're saying them. So you have to give people time to kind of. And I write them down so that I can reflect later.
Yeah, no, that's a good idea. I need to start doing that.
Yeah, I think that that's a good thing to go back. I journal everything. Like if him and I have an argument, I go in my journal and write how he made me feel. Mm-hmm. And then I come back to him and say, this is how you made me feel in this instant, in this argument, in this discussion that we had. Writing stuff down is the most important thing so that people can, not only you, that gives you you're going back and self-reflecting on how you actually reacted to the problem. You know what I'm saying? And I think that's like healthy.
Revisiting it when you're level-headed too. And you're like,
exactly.
All right, let me really see what went on this day.
It's about controlling your feelings and emotion in that moment. And sometimes in the moment, you can't.
Yeah, no, it'd be difficult.
It's difficult. And you might express it in an unhealthy way. Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying? And I feel that number 3 says sharing your feelings and emotions. So if you're angry, if you're sad, we just talked about that. If you're scared, if you're frustrated, you are not going to express your feelings for that person to understand how you're feeling. I feel like it interrupts, the conversation. It interrupts. The frustration comes through and then you're yelling. The frustration comes through and then you're hitting below the belt. The frustration comes through, the sadness, the angry, It could be, verbal. It could be you putting your hands on that person. So many things can come out of you sharing your feelings and emotions with somebody, but you have to fight fair, people. It's, you gotta, it's just so crazy that some people don't want to be vulnerable. But you need to be. You need to express vulnerability. You need to show vulnerability because it gives that person a look at how you really react to certain things, right? Mm-hmm. In my opinion. Number 4, listen to each other without interrupting and paying attention to body language. Oh boy, I can definitely say body language gives it away all the time. Mm-hmm. You could be listening, but your facial expressions be like, you know what I'm saying? Yeah. I know for me, I always say I have resting bitch face because I don't never, it's true. Like in the heat of an argument, unless he sparks something in me and I'll be like, what? And then I'll just be ready. He says I put my arm in my hand. While we're talking about something. If I'm passionate, I might put my hands on you. Not in a way that I'm attacking you or fighting with you, but I'll be like, I'll grab him or something like that. And he's like, yo, for you to be so tiny, like you are out here grabbing people. Like, stop it with the aggressiveness. And I'm like, no, I'm just trying to express myself. Like, I can't help it. That's just me. Have you ever gotten like that? Where you're like, your body language or you're like outwardly expressing with your hand? I talk with my hands anyway.
Yeah, I'm more talk with my hands, but like I said, I don't argue, so I'm not even I never get to that point in the discussion with
really?
If I gotta raise my voice or we're raising our voices, I'm not doing it.
Yeah. Oh wow. Yeah, I think that
I don't like how it makes me feel when I have
when you get hyper. Yeah.
If you love and you care about somebody, you shouldn't.
You should
feel
I always
bad
say,
when you're yelling at them.
I was just about to say that. It's so funny you said that because I feel like if I love you and I hurt you, I feel hurt.
Yeah.
And because I love you, I never want to hurt you. And if you love somebody, you never want to see them hurt, right? Mm-hmm. I feel like that. I feel like the same way you feel. If I love you, I don't want to hurt you. Yeah. I don't want to say anything that's going to hurt you. A lot of times I may hold back how I really feel because I don't want to hurt you in the heat of a discussion. I might come back later, in pillow talk when you're in the bedroom and you're talking to your partner. I may come back then and say some things, you know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. But I don't because I feel like I'm, happy a lot of times. Yeah. People always say I'm laughing or I'm smiling because it's just my personality a lot of times. Unless I feel hurt or attacked, then I'm going to retaliate differently. Mm-hmm. And I might say some things that hurt your feelings, but a lot of times I try to hold back and not hurt the person, Yeah. I try to respect you.
Exactly.
And that's part of fighting fair as well, is respecting the other person's perspective. Your perspective is not the same as mine. Mm-hmm. I need to understand your perspective, listen to what you're saying, and allow you to, express your feelings and your ideas. at the end of the day. Like, you should always respect someone else's perspective. It's not going to be the same as yours.
Yeah, because it's all based on upbringings and just how, so many things go into the perspective of how somebody sees stuff.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. And like you said, upbringing. Mm-hmm. People handle different things that come and hit them depending on how they were raised.
How they saw their parents.
How they see their parents handle certain situations. If your mom was depressed or, lost her, say for example, your parent lost their job and the next thing you see is your mom drinking bottles and bottles of vodka. Mm-hmm. That's how you might react to certain things. I think it's either going to be 100% you react to your depression or losing your job by drinking, or it could be the exact opposite and you don't drink and you handle it differently. It could go both ways. Mm-hmm. It could be negative or positive. I think that happens a lot. Like, I'm not a drinker because I seen my father was a drinker when I was growing up. So that made me not want to drink. You know what I'm saying? I witnessed abuse. So that, especially with alcohol involved, like that made me not want to drink. And it's funny because even my brothers don't drink like that. Yeah, you don't see them buying, let me go buy a 6-pack and I'm going to get drunk tonight. Like, It's funny because for all of us, it went the opposite direction where we don't drink because we experienced abuse with alcohol addiction, alcohol addiction. Like, it's crazy, but it can go, you're either going to be an alcoholic or you're not. And I don't even think you and Sean drink like that.
No, I drink now.
You do?
Yeah, but it was, I work at a bar. I drink on the weekends every weekend.
Oh, Lord. So you be getting drunk.
Yeah. But it just was later in life because of the same thing, those, growing up with the alcoholic in the house.
Yeah, it does. Like I said, it can go 100% this way where you're not a drinker or 100% this way where you become an alcoholic yourself because that's what you've seen.
Yeah.
Sad, but that's just how it is. Another tactic is reach a compromise or problem solve to find a solution together. I think that's very important. Mm-hmm. You have to dig into... If you love somebody and you want to be with that person, either you're going to compromise or you're both going to work towards a solution. Either or. Exactly. Or you're just going to leave.
Exactly.
And say it's not worth it, like you said, right? You're either going to say, oh, this is not worth it. I'm not doing this. I didn't have to do this with anybody else. Why I got to do it with you? You know what I'm saying? There's no right or wrong to it. It is your individual choice. Is the word I want. It's your choice whether or not you want to stay or not.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? If you can't come to a decision or an agreement, you can always walk away if it's not worth it for you.
Yeah, but if you stay, that's on you. If they keep mistreating you and doing the same thing, it's like, they're
oh my
showing
God,
it to you.
Absolutely, because you've allowed them to do that to you.
And people can only do what you allow them to do.
I feel like that is so true. You have to be open about your needs, expectations, hopes, and goals. I think that is very, very important. Some people don't know how to express what they need, or it's not about what you want, it's about what you need, what you expect from that person, what you hope that they do. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. I feel like sometimes... like you said, people's family situations impact how they show up. You know what I'm saying? I believe that some people have trauma. Either some women have daddy issues, some men have mommy issues. Maybe they weren't raised, parents weren't in the house. Like, all those things really alter the way you communicate with people. You know what I'm saying? How you're able to express your needs. Maybe you don't know how to express what you want or what you need in a relationship because you didn't see a healthy relationship. It's funny because someone said, I was reading an article and the girl said her parents, the parents never argued. She never seen her parents argue. Mm-hmm. But guess what? They got divorced. Just because you never see your parents argue doesn't mean that it's a healthy relationship. Some people just don't know how to express themselves to each other, and it just creates a bigger wedge in the relationship. She said, I've never seen my parents argue. It was shocking to me that they got divorced. Of course it's shocking to you because you think that because they're not arguing, they're happy. But that's not the case. They're miserable. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So what do you think about that?
I would say maybe also the parents were just not arguing in front of her. She just never seen it because
they never seen it.
They just were.
What do you think about that? Do you think it's healthy to keep the arguments away from the kids? I think it's healthy for the kids not to see you argue. I think a lot of things, because when kids see parents argue, you know what happens? Is that they start to judge one of the parents.
Yeah.
Oh, like my mom's not a good person. My dad is not a good person because when he argues, he does this, and that. Like you said, they might hear you hidden below the belt, name calling,
saying crazy stuff,
saying stuff about your family, your parents, why you behave this way. You know what I'm saying? Oh my God.
And then they start bringing the kids into it. It's like, yo, we ain't got nothing to do with this. Like,
we have nothing to do
room.
right with y'all trauma and what y'all got going on. You know what I'm saying? It's so funny because that's how it is. Anyway, so that happens a lot. Another one is be mindful of the time you choose to discuss a problem. So always start a discussion and be mindful of how much time you have to really dig into it. You know what I'm saying? Don't start a discussion and the person is their way out the door.
About to leave,
yeah, because that doesn't make any sense. That's not a great idea because it breaks up the conversation. There's not going to be resolution, and you're going to have to come back to it. And those feelings, what happens is that those feelings stir up all over again.
Yeah, you're going to be yelling at people in the grocery store because you're mad.
Because you're mad.
Yeah.
Or when you're on the road driving, God damn it, move out the way. You know, you got road rage because you just left a conversation with somebody. And I'm going to tell you, I'm not one. I don't want to talk to you when you're leaving and then you're in the car and you're not talking to me face to face, because I feel like a face to face conversation is always way easier and better because you can see their facial expressions. You can see if what you say to them really hurts. You can see whether they really care. You can't see that over the phone.
No.
I hate that. I don't want to talk to you over the phone. I want to talk to you in person, but some people can't face you.
Yeah.
And they can't face the problem. I hate that. Yeah. Do you think that's true?
Yeah, it's a lot of people like that. I don't like people like that either. If something bothering you, let them know that it's bothering you.
Yeah. Don't talk to me and say, well, we're going to talk about this later. You stared up this whole argument. Then you want to come back to me and say, we'll talk about it later. No, we're going to talk about it right now. Right now. And if you don't want to talk about it right now, you should have never brought it up. That's how I feel. And I will say that. Like, don't do that. I don't think that's fair. Because now, in the heat of the moment, I have a whole list of stuff I want to talk about. That's why you need to write things down, people. Write things down. Because if a person comes back to you and says, you know what? I don't want to talk about it now. Make sure that in your mind, what you wanted to talk about, write it down. That's why I journal it. Because I want to be able to come back and say, this is how I felt in that moment. For you to recognize how you made me feel. You can't just be like, you start an argument and then you want to leave. Then you want to talk to me in the car. No, I don't want to do that. I want you in my face because I want you to see how it makes me feel. Because if I get emotional, I might cry about it. People cry when they're emotional. Especially women, because we are already emotional people. You know what I'm saying? I want you to feel that. And I want you to see my hurt. You can't see that in the car. I don't want that. Don't do that to me. I hate that. I hate that. Another one, fighting fair rule is focus on issues that are a priority for you, for the both of you, and leave the rest. So what's important? Prioritize what's important. What do you feel is most important and worth talking about? Like you said, pick your battles.
You gotta pick And you're not gonna win every battle.
You're not.
It's like Only when it really
what's important, when it really
you.
matters to you, that's when you should be fighting. If it really doesn't matter to you, leave it alone. Don't talk about it. Don't bring it up. You know what I'm saying? A lot of times, like, we're trying to fight every battle, and it's you're coming out with these battle scars that ain't even worth even having. Really, that's how I feel. It's not worth having the battle scars at the end of the day. You know what I'm saying? Be mindful of, take a break if needed to calm down, and then come back and resume later. I think that's very important. If it's heated, that should be the only time you should be postponing an argument. If you are both in a heated argument and one person, it's not going anywhere. There's no resolution.
Yeah.
Have you ever just talked to someone and you just went in circles?
Yeah.
Feel like you're on a merry-go-round. Boop, 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 boop. And it's just like, there's no resolution. If you feel like the topic that you're talking about is never going to be any resolution to it, just walk away.
Yeah.
Come back to it later if it's even worth coming back to. Really, at the end of the day, you got to go into, and if you're in the same house with someone, go to a different room. Yeah. Go take a walk. Go. You know what I do?
What?
I get in my car and drive.
Drive out.
I listen to my music. It gives me, first of all, the air hitting.
Yeah.
It just helps me breathe. It just helps me feel better listening to the music. I might even cry in the car. I don't even know. It just depends on what the issue was. But I feel like that calms me down. And then I can come back and regroup. Go ahead and journal whatever just happened so that I have it on record. I feel like I'm taking notes. Documentation is very important. But I feel like that's very important, is to definitely go outside of the argument space, because as long as you stay in that space, it's negative.
Yeah, you're gonna feel it still.
You're gonna feel it. It's gonna be present in that room. You gotta leave it so that you can relax and come back.
Because the energy is still there, man.
It's still there. That's why it's funny, because I don't like arguing in my bedroom, because that's my safe space.
Yeah.
That's where I unwind during the day. And if I feel negative energy in that space, I can't sleep.
Yeah, it's gonna be haunting your dream.
It's haunting your dreams. You're dreaming about it. Like, it doesn't feel good, right? So definitely get out of the space where you're arguing in, and don't argue in spaces that you find calming. I have a dressing room. I would not argue with you in my dressing room. That's my space where I collect myself to get ready to go out. And I always want positive energy in that space. Don't come in this room with that shit. Don't come in my bedroom with that shit. Don't invade my safe space because you feel like arguing. No, I'm not doing that. You know what I'm saying?
100%.
Although they say, the next one says, don't stonewall your partner. Stonewalling means that you are refusing, you're shutting down and refusing to talk about it.
Yeah, I don't think, some people, that's how they deal with stuff, though, because they got to gather their thoughts. They don't know how to
That's that past trauma.
Yeah, they don't know how to communicate, so they really got to sit there and, like you said, take notes and really be like, this is what's bothering me.
Right.
You know?
It's funny because I feel like some kids that come from, like, traumatic homes, like, you know, where the parents, you might have had a father that was very controlling or abusive. You bring that past trauma, and that causes the stonewalling. You know what I'm saying? You don't know how to effectively communicate with somebody because your father, you didn't really get to communicate. You didn't feel love. You know what I'm saying? You didn't feel heard in your family life. Like my parents, I grew up with my mom. And even with my dad, I knew he was always available on the phone. If I was feeling like if my mom made me mad or something, I would just pick up the phone and call my dad. Well, she did this, and that. Like, your kids have to have the avenue to vent and express their feelings. If your parents shut that down, that as an adult, that triggers your inability to communicate effectively. It really does. It does I don't think that in our household, did we not talk about things? I think we talked about things. You don't remember. Okay. So you definitely have to feel, like I said, trauma can show up and manifest in relationships.
Yeah.
And if you weren't as a child heard or seen, remember how your parents used to say kids are to be seen and not heard?
Seen and not heard.
If you are one of those children that you were seen but not heard, you're going to have issues in your adult relationships if you don't know how to talk to people. People shut down. They don't want to talk about it. They want to walk away. They want to be mean when they're trying to resolve conflict, throwing stuff in your face.
Yeah, that's weird.
That ain't cool. That is not cool. We have to set boundaries. I think this is important, and one of the most important rules to fighting fair is setting boundaries. Don't allow anybody to yell at you, degrade you, threaten or curse at you. I feel like that when that happens, for me, I shut down completely.
Me too. I can't deal with that.
I can't deal with that. I can't deal with somebody cursing at me, swearing at me, distressed. Like, I feel distressed.
I'd rather be by myself.
Oh, definitely. Don't ever let someone make you feel less than.
Mm-hmm.
That is not cool. And there's a lot of people out here that can be mean when they are fighting with you. Call you hoe, bitch, lame, whatever. Things that they know that will hurt you because you are not those things. Always remember when somebody, because people hit below the belt a lot. We talked about that. People hit below the belt. You have to set healthy boundaries and say, these are the things that I am 100% not dealing with. People only do what you allow them to do. That has a lot to do with that, right?
Exactly.
As individuals in an argument, you have to take responsibility and accountability for your own shit. People don't take accountability or responsibility. But accountability is one thing that people do not take.
Yeah. And that's the most important.
That is the most important thing.
For growth.
For growth. So you're not to move forward in the future with this relationship. If you're not accountable for your actions.
Yeah, because there's always going to be something that bothers you in the future. So it's they're not accountable now, they're not going to be accountable then, you know?
And it's not even about accountability and taking accountability for, when you take accountability, you're saying, I have some challenges that I'm willing to work on. If you are not showing accountability, you are not owning your weaknesses. Mm-hmm. We all have strengths and weaknesses. If you don't take accountability, you're not owning your weaknesses. You're saying, I don't have any weaknesses, and we all have them. You have to own that and recognize it so that you yourself can adjust. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's just saying, like, I don't submit. If I don't own the fact that I have issues with submission, I will never, ever be able to adjust to being with somebody who is a lot more alpha than I am. Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying? Or a man. Mm-hmm. Because I am not recognizing that I have issues with submission. Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying? I think people don't understand that it's not even about, it's working through your weaknesses and the challenges that you face in the relationship. If you don't take accountability and responsibility, you ain't never going to be able to. The relationship ain't going no damn where. Mm-hmm. It is never going to improve. It's always going to be that area where you need work. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. Always, another one is manage your feelings of resentment. Oh, people have resentment issues too. You know what I'm saying? Oh my God. It's like you're holding a grudge towards that person. Like, I feel like that sometimes too. Like, if someone does something to you and you don't know how to forgive, you hold a grudge. And that grudge gets deeper and deeper and deeper, and it just keeps manifesting and it's showing up every time you have an argument with somebody. What do you think about that?
I don't know. I don't hold grudges.
You don't?
I don't argue.
You don't hold grudges? You've never held a grudge?
And see if I like you or I don't. It's like I'm not going. I
might bring it up. I might bring up the past or something. I might just say, for example, I might hold a grudge. And And sometimes, like I said, when I write things down, like I said, I'll come back and say, dang, I done did that again.
Look.
I done read it 3 times on these pages.
Mm-hmm.
I done held a grudge a couple times. You know what I'm saying? But all that does is create more distance within the relationship, and you'll never get past. If you can't get past the grudge and you keep bringing that up and bringing it up, relationship is, you're circling back to the same issue, and there's no resolution.
Yeah.
That means that you guys couldn't come up with an action plan or resolution to the problem that you're talking about. And that's not cool either. So I feel like that has really, it negatively impacts the relationship. Mm-hmm. You're holding a grudge.
Yeah, no, I think I'm pretty good at forgiving.
Oh, you are? I am too.
If I say I
forgive
you, I really mean that.
I probably forgive more than I should.
Yeah, like.
I'm too forgiving.
Yeah.
I don't forget, though. It's a difference between forgiving and forgetting.
Yeah, but shouldn't you forget it?
No, you should never forget how something presented itself and how it made you feel.
But if you don't forget it, then it's going to stay in your mind and be haunting you. You're going to have bad dreams
No, because you can
it.
forgive them, but you can't forget, because I feel like when you forget, it allows somebody to come back and do it again.
No, you only get one time for me to forgive
That's
you,
it.
and then you do it again, and I'm out. But it's not nothing that could make me... Somebody can't hurt. Nobody can hurt me. Like, it's nothing somebody can say or
do to hurt you.
I'm out. I'm
That's
gone.
good, though, because you're going to leave the relationship.
Yeah,
you consider that a red flag, and you're going to leave.
Yeah.
Okay, that makes sense. How about assumptions? Have you ever had somebody like make assumptions in a relationship, assuming?
Yeah.
I feel like, I'm not gonna lie, I'm gonna take ownership and accountability. I feel like
That's
I do
your
make
thing.
assumptions in my head.
Yeah.
I make up my own stories sometimes, and that is not good, people.
No, that's unhealthy.
That it says don't make assumptions.
Yeah,
when you're
you do.
fighting and you want to fight fair, you can't make assumptions. You know what they say about assuming?
What?
It makes an ass out of you and me.
Oh yeah, because that's how you spell it.
Yeah, makes an ass out of you and me. You're assuming that you know. It's like you're saying that this is what happened, and that's not what happened.
Yeah.
That's an assumption. You're making an ass out of yourself. I make an ass out of myself all the time because I do assume. Like if you tell me something and it doesn't add up, oh, you might have been here, and there. I've done that in my relationships, but I feel like,
It sounds like traumas and like you done been lied to, though.
I was about to say that. It comes from it stems from past relationships. Mm-hmm. And when 1 and 1 don't make 2.
Yeah.
I feel like you're taking me back to a past relationship, and I don't feel safe. So that's when I begin assuming shit.
Do you when you in a new relationship though, you don't forget about the past ones and like it's a clean slate? It's like,
I think I do until the trust is broken.
Okay.
I think when trust comes into it and you break my trust, I feel like
then you're like, oh, this is repeating. This
it's
is about to turn
itself.
into what this was.
It feels like the same
I
past
can understand
trauma
that.
or past relationship. And I do, who's not going to compare at that point?
Yeah.
Well, this is what he did, so this is what you're doing. You know what I'm saying? But that's all has to do with if you break someone's trust. This is what people don't understand. When you break someone's trust in a relationship, it is very hard. You have to make a decision in your mind that, okay, this person broke my trust. Is it salvageable? Was the trust that they broke salvageable? And if you decide to move on with this person, then you have to definitely move on and let it go. But I think that's difficult when it presents itself again. Okay, you've forgiven them, but it presents itself again. And it feels the same. So you go right back into that pattern of, oh, I don't trust. Now I'm further not trusting you because I feel the same from when the first time I didn't trust you. You know what I'm saying? And it just keeps building and building.
Yeah, but what if that person honestly isn't doing anything and just you're haunting yourself now just because you're not trusting
I feel
them?
like the mind plays tricks on you too.
Yeah, that's why I was saying to forget, like why you should forget. Because if not, then every time that it just feels a little weird, you're going to always be like, nah, they're doing something. And they could be
not doing something.
Back on there, they could be.
But you know what that has to deal with? How that can easily be resolved? Transparency. If you lie to somebody that you're with, that that creates conflict and that creates trust issues. If that person is not being 100% transparent, how are you going to get past trust issues? They're just going to keep developing and developing. Be 100% honest. Why is that so fucking hard? I don't understand it. Why is it so freaking hard for people to be honest? Especially when you're starting off. Because I feel like when you first start off in a relationship with somebody, you're learning each other.
Yeah, you should be yourself so they can accept who you are.
Exactly. Be yourself. Don't lie coming into it. And if you are, because I feel like there's different situations with, I've dated somebody that said to me that they were single and they weren't single. Mm-hmm. They were coming out of a marriage. And I feel like you intentionally lied because you knew, one, I'm not the kind of woman that's going to mess with you and you're married or you're in a relationship with somebody. I'm not that chick. Mm-hmm. Why would I mess with somebody who's in a relationship or married when I can have somebody who's single? Like, I'm not that chick. And you knew by talking to me that I was not that chick. But you lied. So how do you bounce back from that? You're always going to think about it. Now, moving forward with that person, I did not hold that against him because I understood, what that was like. I've been separated. I've been divorced.
Yeah. I was going to say, I consider that being single. If we
and say that everybody divorced, exactly like, everybody has a different interpretation.
But you're saying you just wish you would have known from the jump.
From the jump, yeah. Because if I have to find out on social media or I see pictures being posted or some shit like that, I'm going to come to you. Yeah. That creates distrust.
Yeah, but
and you're right. When you decide to move forward with that person, you should trust them. But when it quacks like a duck, if it looks like a duck and it quacks like a duck, it's a fucking duck. Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying? You got to be honest about you got to be honest with yourself with what you're seeing too. You know what I'm saying?
100%.
And the person that created the trust issues has to put in effort to make you not feel that distrust.
Yeah.
Makes you have to I always say a man leads the relationship and sets the tone. Mm-hmm. If you create distrust, you have to make a woman feel like she can trust you. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
You have to correct that. And if you're not willing to, leave her alone.
Yeah, you're going to have to put in some extra work too.
Extra work for her. Easy. That might mean you have to call her more times in the day. Call her when you wake up in the morning or when you're going to bed while you're working. Like there's certain situations as a man that you have to handle differently if she's not feeling secure. A woman does not, fellas, I'm going to say this and I'm going to only say this shit one time. A woman does not come into a relationship with you, and vice versa. Women too, ladies. Men don't come into relationships. Women don't come into relationships feeling insecure with themselves until you make them feel insecure. Once you create the cloud of insecurity, of course she's going to be questioning you. Of course she's going to be asking you. You shouldn't feel any type of way. You created the fucking cloud of insecurity. That's how I feel. Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying? I am not going to make any assumptions unless I feel a certain type of way. I don't feel like I'm making an ass out of myself and creating this. I might create shit in my head sometimes though, because I feel like I do sometimes. I'll be like, oh. And I'm like, oh, I created a whole damn scenario in my head. But
yeah, watching all that reality TV.
That's why you don't need to be watching that shit. That's why I said in the beginning.
Yeah.
That shit creates insecurities in people, or it creates false realities. Mm-hmm. It's reality TV that creates a false reality for people, okay? Girl. What you see happening on The Real Housewives of Atlanta, it might not be your story, but you keep watching that and that gets into your brain, baby, it might be your story. Like, seriously, think about that. Last one is move on after resolving a problem. Stop revisiting the problem. If you've come to a solution, you've talked about it, that problem should never come up again. People don't do that. We keep revisiting, dwelling. There's no resolution when you dwell. in the same shit over and over again. Have you ever heard somebody say you were so deep in shit that you couldn't see it or you couldn't smell it?
Yeah, I've heard that.
That's why, because we keep
there's just so much
revisiting the issue. You can't do that. We keep dwelling on in the issue. You have to be able to move on for growth to happen, for the relationship to advance further. Mm-hmm. If not, you're stagnant in that same problem will keep manifesting itself. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. I feel like relationships should have goals. What do you think? Yeah. Should there be goals in the relationship? I feel like
separate from their personal goals. You're saying?
Yeah, like your relationship goals. Like, what are your goals? Like, people feel like establishing goals within the relationship. Like, maybe you say in 6 months, maybe we'll move in together, or in a year we'll get married. Like those type of goals. Like after you get married, then creating a business, or you know what I'm saying? Creating generational wealth for your family. Like those are all goals that people should have in a relationship. You know what I'm saying?
100%.
And we have to remember, when you fight fair in a relationship, you're creating a stronger relationship, a more stable relationship. If you're fighting fair and you're not hitting below the belt, it shows that both of you have the ability to resolve conflict. And you know what I'm saying?
And it shows it's worth it.
It's worth it. And that as time evolves and you do you start having, with conflict resolution, you get better at it.
Exactly.
That's the most important thing, is getting better at resolving the conflict and understanding each other and having a mutual respect for one another. I think that's very, very important, not only in your friendships, but your romantic partners, your husbands, your fiancés, your boyfriend, your girlfriend, whatever. And just remember, these are tactics that are important in not just your romantic relationships, but your familial relationships, your work relationships. You have to have a certain amount of respect for somebody. And you have to, when you have respect, in a relationship, it creates a stronger bond, I think, too. You know what I'm saying? When you mutually respect one another, no one can come in and penetrate.
Yeah, because it's like, I know that this person.
I know this person, and I know this person loves me. This person respects me. This person's looking out for my best interest. This person is not trying to hurt me. You know. And when you know more and you know better, you're going to do better. You know what I'm saying? That's very important. So, once again, stop hitting below the belt, people. Stop fighting unfairly. And if you struggle with that, it is nothing wrong with going to couples therapy. You know what I'm saying? See somebody outside that doesn't know neither one of you, so that they can help you with different techniques to resolve certain issues. Yeah,
because you might be fighting something, thinking that you're right, and then somebody on the outside is like, nah,
you ain't right, baby.
You're wrong.
Exactly.
Like, yeah, so
it's always important. Like, if the relationship is important to you, spend the money to go see a therapist. Go to your church and see your pastor. Like, if you belong to a church, go see your pastor. If you have a friend, I wouldn't say like a friend, an immediate friend that's a therapist, but like someone that you trust and you know that they're not going to judge either one of you, and they're going to openly hear you. I think that's a safe space too.
Yeah.
But if not, always go see someone that can help with the conflict resolution. Like I said, you can there's online therapy directories, put in your zip code, go out there and find a therapist. I think that's important, especially if you value the relationship and you value the person that you're with. You know what I'm saying? Fighting fair is important. Your relationship will evolve over time. It will change the dynamics of your relationship. That's my perspective from Titi's House podcast. Thank you for tuning in. Make sure that you watch us on YouTube, iHeartRadio, Spotify. I'm missing some Apple Podcasts. So make sure that you go out there, like, follow, and share, people. Thanks for coming out. Have a great day.